and welcome to Outside of a Cat. This is our Facebook page. I'd like to thank everyone who's liked and followed. It's great for a little channel. This is an old book review which I am resurrecting, if you like. It's on Carlos Castaneda and it is a reading plus some analysis. So I hope you enjoy this video. Please let us know what you think. Comment down below. I'd be really interested to see your feedback on this book. Some time ago we stumbled upon an extract from Carlos Castaneda's The Active Side of Infinity, which provides an interesting description of the parasitic controllers that are alleged to rule our world. So anyone who's done some research on Carlos Castaneda realizes that this has all the hallmarks of an alphabet agency psyop. We can see the double C equals 33, and aside from the numerology, the backstory of this author includes allegations of con artistry, strange relationships with women, disappearing women, and all sorts of psyop-related tomfoolery. So the first part of this video will read the extract, and then we will have some reflections about how this might have some basis in reality, which we will explore after we've done the reading. So this is an extract from The Active Side of Infinity by Carlos Castaneda, and goodness knows where we found it, so sorry about that. We have a predator that came from the depths of the cosmos and took over the rule of our lives. Human beings are its prisoners. The predator is our lord and master. It has rendered us docile, helpless. If we want to protest, it suppresses our protest. If we want to act independently, it demands that we don't do so. They took over because we are food for them, and they squeeze us mercilessly because we are their sustenance. Just as we rear chickens in chicken coops, the predators rear us in human coops. Therefore, their food is always available to them. Think for a moment and tell me how you would explain the contradiction between the intelligence of man the engineer and the stupidity of his systems of beliefs, or the stupidity of his contradictory behavior. Sorcerers believe that the predators have given us our systems of beliefs, our ideas of good and evil, our social mores. They are the ones who set up our hopes and expectations and dreams of success or failure. They have given us covetousness, greed, and cowardice. It is the predators who make us complacent, routinary, and egomaniacal. Do they whisper all that in our ears while we are asleep? No, they don't do it that way. That's idiotic, Don Juan said, smiling. They are infinitely more efficient and organized than that. In order to keep us obedient and meek and weak, the predators engage themselves in a stupendous maneuver. Stupendous, of course, from the point of view of a fighting strategist. A horrendous maneuver from the point of view of those who suffer it. They gave us their mind. Do you hear me? The predators gave us their mind, which becomes our mind. The predator's mind is baroque, contradictory, morose, filled with the fear of being discovered any minute now. I know that even though you have never suffered hunger, he went on, you have food anxiety, which is none other than the anxiety of the predator who feels that any moment now its maneuver is going to be uncovered and food is going to be denied. Through the mind, which after all is their mind, the predators inject into the lives of human beings whatever is convenient for them, and they ensure in this manner a degree of security to act as a buffer against their fear. But why is it that the sorcerers of ancient Mexico and all sorcerers today, although they see the predators, don't do anything about it? There's nothing that you and I can do about it, Don Juan said in a grave and sad voice. All we can do is discipline ourselves to the point where they will not touch us. How can you ask your fellow men to go through these rigors of discipline? They'll laugh and make fun of you, and the more aggressive ones will beat the shit out of you. Not so much because they don't believe it. Down in the depths of every human being, there's an ancestral, visceral knowledge about the predator's existence. What I'm saying is what we have against us is not a simple predator. It is very smart and organized. It follows a methodical system to render us useless. Man, the magical being that he is destined to be, is no longer magical. He's an average piece of meat. There are no more dreams for man but the dreams of an animal who is being raised to become a piece of meat, trite, conventional, imbecilic. The only alternative left for mankind, he continued, is discipline. Discipline is the only deterrent. But by discipline, I don't mean harsh routines. I don't mean waking up every morning at 5:30 and throwing cold water on yourself until you're blue. Sorcerers understand discipline as the capacity to face with serenity odds that are not included in our expectations. For them, discipline is an art, the art of facing infinity without flinching, not because they are strong and tough, but because they are filled with awe. In what way would the sorcerer's discipline be a deterrent? I asked. Sorcerers say that discipline makes the glowing coat of awareness unpalatable to the predator, Don Juan said, scrutinizing my face as if to discover any signs of disbelief. The result is that the predators become bewildered. An inedible glowing coat of awareness is not part of their cognition, I suppose. After being bewildered, they don't have any recourse other than refraining from continuing their nefarious task. If the predators don't eat our glowing coat of awareness for a while, he went on, it'll keep on growing. Simplifying this matter to the extreme, I can say that sorcerers, by means of their discipline, push the predators away long enough to allow their glowing coat of awareness to grow beyond the level of the toes. Once it grows beyond the level of the toes, it grows back to its natural size. The sorcerers of ancient Mexico used to say that the glowing coat of awareness is like a tree. If it is not pruned, it grows to its natural size and volume. As awareness reaches levels higher than the toes, tremendous maneuvers of perception become a matter of course. The grand trick of those sorcerers of ancient times, Don Juan continued, was to burden the predator's mind with discipline. They found out that if they taxed the predator's mind with inner silence, the foreign installation would flee, giving to any one of the practitioners involved in this maneuver the total certainty of the mind's foreign origin. The foreign installation comes back, I assure you, but not as strong, and a process begins in which the fleeing of the predator's mind becomes routine, until one day it flees permanently. A sad day indeed. That's the day when you have to rely on your own devices, which are nearly zero. There's no one to tell you what to do. There's no mind of foreign origin to dictate the imbecilities you're accustomed to. You're being torn by an internal struggle, Don Juan said. Down in the depths of you, you know that you are incapable of refusing the agreement that an indispensable part of you, your glowing coat of awareness, is going to serve as a source of nourishment to incomprehensible entities, and another part of you will stand against this situation with all its might. The sorcerer's revolution, he continued, is that they refuse to honor agreements in which they did not participate. Nobody ever asked me if I would consent to being eaten by beings of a different kind of awareness. My parents just brought me into this world to be food, like themselves, and that's the end of the story. You see, the predator's mind has no competitors, Don Juan continued. When it proposes something, it agrees with its own proposition, and it makes you believe that you've done something of worth. The predator's mind will say to you that whatever I am telling you is pure nonsense, and then the same mind will agree with its own proposition. Yes, of course it is nonsense, you will say. That's the way they overcome us. The predators are an essential part of the universe, he went on, and they must be taken as what they really are, awesome, monstrous, ruthless. They are the means by which the universe tests us because we are possessors of an incomprehensible energy that has awareness. We are the means by which the universe becomes aware of itself. The predators are the implacable challengers. They cannot be taken as anything else. If we continue in outmaneuvering them, the universe allows us to continue unhindered into infinity. End extract. So just briefly, we have here talking about the contradictions between the intelligence of man and the so-called stupidity of the systems of beliefs. This could be just undermining our traditional religious beliefs, or it could be something more. He says the predators gave us their mind, which becomes our mind. And the predator's mind is baroque, contradictory, morose, filled with the fear of being discovered. There's also the notion of the fellow men and their behavior. They'll laugh and make fun of you, and the more aggressive ones will beat the shit out of you. So it's like these predators engage collaborators in order to help enforce their will. And the only alternative left for mankind is discipline. But it's the discipline that is an art, the art of facing infinity without flinching, the ability to remain focused in the storm. And it is this discipline that creates the inedible glowing coat of awareness that protects us from the predators. This is a bit reminiscent of the whole armour of God, and perhaps there are connections to that. So they are predators that have to be outmaneuvered. Those of us that are seekers of truth are aware that sometimes we find knowledge in the most unlikely of places. We all know that there is the mainstream fake news, which we can be assured is going to provide us with nonsense and lies and misinformation. There's also the controlled opposition, and there's the shills, and sometimes we come across information direct from the controllers themselves or their representatives, because the predators couldn't exist without help from collaborators. It's only since the global war crisis has come along that I have reflected upon this Carlos Castaneda passage, and it seems to me that there might be an element of truth, though nothing that I can prove. I wonder if it's not our emotions that are the aspect of our mind that have been imposed upon us, because it seems to me that feelings are not real and they are a construct of our imagination. So then true reality is suppressed. Our true mind might be the unconscious mind, and we imagine the world into existence, and feelings fill the space where something used to be. It's gone, but we see the absence. And we also, perhaps on a conscious or unconscious level, experience or see or feel the insanity of the current system. Now, people talk about loosh and loosh harvesting and energy harvesting, and that's maybe linked to this. It seems that feelings are our most manipulated and manipulatable aspects. Look at the way they've used fear to control us. Look at the way they manipulate us into doing things that perhaps we don't want to do. Think of emotional blackmail, conforming, peer pressure. All of those are based on emotional manipulations. In my work in the community sector, I often experience and or see bullying in action. It seems often that when you're dealing with a bully or a group of bullies verbally attacking you in a meeting, the ability to remain focused, to remain disciplined, and to focus on the facts and not get sidetracked by the feelings is an important part of the process. And don't the bullies hate it when they can't manipulate you through your feelings? So perhaps this may be, indeed, evidence that we have had a vulnerability implanted into our consciousness or our mind. Neurolinguistic programming is also something that provides us with a sense of how easy it is to manipulate people. How people operate in teams to first soften up the victim, to prepare the way for the next person to come along and do the damage. Because as Carlos Castaneda said, the predators have given us covetousness, greed and cowardice, and it is the predators who make us complacent, routinary and egomaniacal. Those all seem to be the inherent aspects of what makes a bully. So we're not pretending to be experts, but perhaps there's something in that is worth considering, although obviously it's not very provable. However, what is interesting is that we can learn to discipline our emotions. We can learn not to be slaves to our emotions, and we can learn not to be manipulated by bullies using emotionally manipulative behavior. So in conclusion, I'm a bit bewildered by Carlos Castaneda. I think in one sense that it is a science fiction book which is talking about an alien invasion, while mixing the metaphors and of archetypes of our human psychology, mixing in a bit of shamanism. It does seem to be a bit of confusion. So I don't really know what I think. I'm not someone who believes in alien invasions and other things that are not provable, but at the same time I'm a skeptic about history, and I don't believe in the red and the blue. I believe they're all in bed together, so I think anything is possible. I think the usefulness of this book is that it talks about disciplining your mind not to become a slave to your emotions. So many times people have a hissy fit. So many times we lose our self-control under pressure, and we might say things that we might regret later on, for example. And so I think it is important to have a sense of discipline. So perhaps that's a good thing to take away from this book. But it is weird. And all that story about those missing women and all that kind of stuff in his backstory, it's very odd. So it's a fictional piece of work that's masquerading as science fiction or non-fiction. Did Don Juan exist? It seems to me that there's doubts as to whether it's real or not. But I'll let you discover the book for yourself. On behalf of Outside of a Cat, I'd like to thank you for watching. I believe Jack's going to be going to a romance conference soon, so get ready for some romance. Please like, share and subscribe. We're on YouTube and Facebook. Have a browse around our YouTube channel. There's Peter Rabbit, there's Altered Carbon, and there's a small bunch of book reviews in one video. And Jack's done a great job of providing the links for where you can get the books from. So thanks, Jack, for that. Thank you for watching. We do appreciate everyone who watches our videos. Please like, share, follow and comment, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.